right. So I'm going to cover another concept from my double medicine journey. So what was interesting about this journey, probably because it was a double, is that I got double the benefit. This week, being the first week after that weekend, has been magical in a way that none of the others were. A lot of times, if I just do one experience and it was with a different group, I would just kind of rest up that week and, catch up on sleep and, meditate on what I learned. But this was like, wow. Like all these synchronicities are happening and really positive things. It's like, wow, my life is upgraded big time. So what I wanted to talk about today is one of the things that I did. So we were done. I got home Sunday evening. And then Tuesday, I went and got an acupuncture / pressure point massage combo of an amazing healer here on Maui. TJ in Makawao. And I wasn't expecting this at all, but I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. So what a great thing to do after a medicine journey, because what it did is it kicked me right back into kind of a psychedelic altered state, because I was breathing so much, because he's really good about making you breathe through it and releasing through the breathing. And I was breathing on the drive there too, to get prepped. And, conscious breathing where it's a lot deeper and wider than your typical breathing. And then, okay, so what happened is I was talking to him about how the points that he was putting needles in lately have been kind of painful. And he's like, yeah, we need to access that pain and release it. And I was like, okay. And I started crying, when he was putting in, because I mentioned in the previous audio, the first one I think, where I was aware of how much sadness and how much of a backlog of anger also that I had not expressed. And so I told him that, and that's usually liver points and lung points. Lung has to do with grief, sadness, whereas liver is where you carry anger. So he was able to tap into those meridians with the acupuncture points. And so I started crying and just let it flow, because he's so good. I've never met a man that he's just really easy to be with that way, and I could just bawl my head off. and so, I was crying and getting it out that way, and I was breathing, and he was making sure I was breathing while I was crying, and then he leaves, to let you do your thing. So I went into this whole altered state where I started also adding toning, because making sound makes it come out faster too, even more so than the breath, because then it has a sound to carry on and get out of your body. And we do this in Tantra as well, Tantric healing. So I was making all these sounds, and then, which was really fun actually, and I was releasing so much more by being able to do it that way, because it's loud, right? But his office is at his house, so I could be loud, and I wasn't in a group experience, so I didn't have to worry about being too loud. And I just let her rip. I was just doing all these different tones, and I was like, okay, what tone do I need to do to let go of my mom's stuff? What tone do I need to do to let go of my dad's stuff? And and by the way, those two tones were very specific and different. Not your typical A-E-I-O-U tone. So, a typical one that he has people do is ha, and so I was doing all the vowels, and then I went into the mom one and the dad one, and then it went into a little bit of a different thing where I started using the sounds of my full name. So my full name is Sheea Beth Shafer. I love my name. And I was doing shh, e, ah, and, you know, like, Beth, you know, just really overemphasizing it, exaggerating it. And Shafer. And, you know, was kind of going through that for a while, and it was a way for me to call in my true self through the sounds of my name. So this was just spontaneous intuition to do this. And I've done this before in an energy class, something similar, but this was like a elongated version of that. And where I was learning about energy, because energy work is where it's at. That's really the baseline of everything that we're doing. And it was really fun. And it was calling, what I realized I was doing as I was doing it is like I was calling in my true essence, meaning the original template before it got affected by layers of culture and trauma, or through insecurities, or all these layers that the world, we end up taking on from the world we're living in our environment and all that. So that was really cool. And I noticed some of the effects, like of the MDMA coming through, because then I got a vision of one of the people that I had kind of judged, and I was like, oh, and then I just saw it with fresh eyes and new eyes, and I was like, you know what? Everyone is there for a reason, and this is my tribe. And here I am judging one of them because she for me, she's challenging to be with. There's parts of her that remind me of my mom, and she's a little bit, it feels like there's more judgment and criticism there, which I'm sensitive to. And I realized that, you know, it's important for us to focus on what people do bring to the table instead of focusing on what we don't like, because otherwise then what we don't like becomes our whole reality, and we completely miss all the good that they're bringing to the table, which is really the point. And it makes that goodness grow when you focus on that. And so I was able to kind of go, oh, wow, okay, I see that differently now. And even though she may not be like a bestie right now, you know, it helped me to really appreciate what she does bring to the table, even though I kind of have to really stay present in, you know, when I'm around her more so, to dance with the energy that I'm finding a little bit challenging for me. And, you know, I realized how much I have been, you know, kind of almost too hard on my friends or the men in my life, especially, I think is where it has shown up for me. And it was like the universe was saying, you know, this is your tribe, Sheea, who's showing up. So if you're going to just constantly tell them they're not good enough, or they need to be better, or they need to do this and that and the other to fit into your world, you know, you're going to end up kind of isolated, because no one's perfect. You got to work with these things and communicate what you need and what you don't like and all that in a way that is sustainable. And I just kind of saw how, you know, that which I picked up from my upbringing was carrying into me being kind of hard on those around me in my tribe. And it was just very eye-opening, like, yeah, you know, don't be so hard on everybody, because, you know, this is them, and you're meant to work on all this together. It's not going to just show up perfectly. Just like we have this weird fairy tale, like our partner's going to show up like this perfect being, you know, like a Prince Charming type perfection, and it's just not really realistic. we get both, you know, the humanness and the amazingness. And so we got to be willing to work with both, because it's all there for a reason. And that means communicating through stuff and whatever. So anyway, I just wanted to share with you that experience of going into the acupuncturist, because I definitely was not expecting that to happen, but it was a beautiful, like it was another wave of healing that really facilitated more release. And so I'm tucking that away, and so can you, as far as like maybe getting acupuncture or body work or whatever afterward, can help facilitate even more healing. And so how cool is that? May your life and may you be everything you ever dreamed of, because it's going to be, whether you like it or not. So enjoy the journey until you get there. Aloha.